Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Baseball is blazing with red-hot races. Toronto stays on the fast track, streaking to the best record in the majors while trying to stretch its lead over last year's wire-to-wire winners. Takeoff time. Big leaguers burn up the base paths, and speed emerges as an essential element in the quest to capture the flag. A rapid recovery in Chicago, where the main accelerator gets back in the blocks and helps make the Cubs front runners once again. Shifting into high gear, the Hurricanes flash through the final turn of the College World Series. And we'll hurry back to start it up for y'all, right here on This Week in Baseball. National League, rise and shine. Chicago sees daylight atop the East. Cub fans took license to be optimistic after Chicago laid down the law against the stalled-out Pirates. Leon Durham didn't start in Game 1, but in the 12th inning, he put the finishing touch on a 3-2 win as the Cubs raised their home record to 17-6, best in the league. Next day, more daylight delight as Jody Davis lowered the Cub boom on Pittsburgh by going 3 for 3, including home run number 4, the only run of the game. The most welcome sign came from last year's Cy Young Award winner. Rick Sutcliffe came off the disabled list and promptly disabled the Bucks, going all the way and striking out 9 to pick up win number 6. The 5-hit shutout was Sutcliffe's third whitewash of the season, setting off a now familiar refrain at Wrigley.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win! What a performance!
And what a job by Steve Trout the next day. Also returning from injury, Rainbow shut out Pittsburgh for 7 innings and got the win to go 6-1. Trout got by with a little help from his friends, who turned 4 double plays in the game. Chris Spire was inspiring as a fill-in at second base. 2 hits and 4 RBIs, including the game winner, as the Cubs took over first place. In the finale, all eyes were once again glued to the mound as Dick Ruthven got the win to reduce the team's ERA below 2.9. Warren Brewstar preserved the 5-1 victory, giving him a win and a save in the series, as Chicago swept all 4 from the Bucks to open up a little daylight at the top of the East. On to Cincinnati for a battle between the 2 best in the West. Stormy weather was not in the forecast, but when first place San Diego came to town, Cincinnati was under the weather. The Reds began the series just a game and a half back, but lost the first game of a doubleheader 9-3. In the nightcap, Tony Gwynn came up with the score tied in the 11th. Going, that ball is gone. A game-winning home run for Gwynn. San Diego was also shaking things up on the mound. Craig Lefferts turned in quite an effort with 2 shutout innings as the Padres raised their road record to 16-10, best in the league. Cincinnati supporters were left out in the cold by Padre hitters like Kevin McReynolds, 9 for 18 in the series, boosting his average above 295. The Reds won Game 3, but in the finale, they tasted defeat at the hands of Andy Hawkins, who lifted his record to 11-0, setting a team mark for consecutive wins and surprising just about everyone but himself.
I always had faith in myself. You know, it was never, a time where I didn't think I could do it. You know, I've been successful most of the time, and things have worked out really good for me, and it's a very positive time in my life right now. And I just hope it continues, and I hope that later on I can, think back at these positive experiences and relay them to the president.
Time now to feature our running Redbird, who's king of the speed merchants. St. Louis rookie Vince Coleman is on the fast track. After a record 246 steals in 2 minor league seasons, he came up to the Cards this year and ran off with 41 steals in 46 games. Hot on the trail of the single-season mark of 130, Coleman is surprising everybody.
He surprised me, and I'm kind of hard to surprise at times, but he's done an awesome job, and I just wish that he could continue because he's the type of guy that can make a team get into the World Series.
He's a very intelligent young man, and I think that's part of the reason he has exceeded our expectations, because he's a fast learner, he takes instruction well, and he's a hard worker.
And that work includes getting tips from former Cardinal Lou Brock, all-time stolen base king with 938 steals.
Every day I get an opportunity to talk to Lou, I talk with him. He gives me some interesting pointers on base stealing. Some of our ideas are similar because, you know, he's one of the greatest base stealers of all time.
There's no defense against speed, and in fact, that's one of the reasons a lot of ball clubs are going to it. Speed, the only way you can defense speed, you got to have speed.
These days, the majors have so much speed that the base paths are starting to look like a whole different kind of track.
Speed is probably one of the most important factors in the game. There are a lot of ways you can score with a guy that can steal a base or take the extra base on a base hit, and it's probably the most exciting thing since the home run.
The old concept of power hitters is not there anymore. Teams are going for speed first, arm second, and then they hope they can learn how to hit.
You see a lot of hitters who normally, if they couldn't run, probably would not be in this ball game. They don't really hit that well, but they've learned to chop down the ball and put it in certain spots of the ballpark and just run. And it's made them a major league ball player nowadays.
And no ball players tearing up the big league track quite like Vince Coleman. Now let's open the notebook for this week in baseball's TWIB notes from around the National League. St. Louis Cardinals second baseman Tommy Herr has pitchers in a stir. A major league leading .378 average plus 51 RBIs. Already his career high for one season, and the first big leaguer to drive in 50 this year. What's more, he's done it without power. Tommy hit only his second homer this season against New York when the Cards took 3 out of 4 to knock the Mets out of first place in the East. Hooray for Herr. At age 40, Houston's Joe Niekro is still knuckling nicely. In a 3-game sweep of the Giants, Joe got career win number 138 as an Astro to set a team record. It was also career win number 196 overall. Joe and brother Phil of the Yankees are second only to Gaylord and Jim Perry as the winningest brother combo in big league history. Atlanta rookie Zane Smith gave the Brave bullpen its first day off this season. The 24-year-old left-hander struck out 6 to beat San Francisco 7-0 for his first major league shutout, and it was the first complete game for the Braves this year. A sad note, fans. Bob Prince passed away. Pirate voice for 3 decades, he leaves a legacy of marvelous microphone memories.
Bobby Clemente hits a screwball a mile in the left center field. It is going. It is gone. Bobby Clemente continues to totally annihilate Baltimore pitching.
Bye, Bob. You sure were a prince of a man. Now it's time for this week's quiz, brought to you by Nissan, builders of high-quality cars and trucks for over 50 years. Ozzie Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals continues his magic act at shortstop. Just 3 errors in his first 55 games. If he maintains that pace, the Wizard of Oz will break the league mark for fewest errors by a shortstop in one season. Now for this week's quiz. Can you name the National League shortstop who holds the record for fewest errors in the season? Stay tuned for a still active player. American League matchup. Toronto tangles with the Tigers. Winners of 14 out of 16, the Blue Jays were feasting in first place in the East when their hungry rivals came in.
Two excellent ball teams to be the best baseball ever.
You got that right, honey. Against Detroit in Game 1, Blue Jay rooters tuned into a real thriller. No score through 11 innings. Then Buck Martinez stepped to the plate, bottom of the 12th, and there it goes, a two-run game-winning homer. Oh, did Buck put the Jays in luck. Next night, Toronto's offense took off, soaring over Detroit 9-2 before the largest night crowd in team history. One Tiger tamer was George Bell, who hammered home run number 11, collecting 3 RBIs to raise his team-leading total to 34. Also in fine form was Dave Steve, who got the win to go 6-4. That gave the Jays almost the same record they had this time last season, but it put them 8.5 games up as opposed to 4.5 back of the Tigers a year ago.
When you do some kicking, you normally get kicked back. And I think what it is right now, we're getting a good kicking back. You know, last year we did the kicking. This year they're kicking us. Now, something will change, and I don't know what it is, but something will happen down the road.
We're not going to quit. That's one thing about us. We do know how to win. And I think that's the one good thing that we have going for us, and I think that's the one thing that Toronto probably is going to have to contend with. We hope that today we're going to get it together. We're going to go out and play as hard as we can, and we hope that today will be the first day, and from this remainder of the season, we'll play like world champions.
They did just that the next 2 days. Chet Lemon helped turn things around with 3 hits and 3 RBIs as Detroit scored 18 runs to win the last 2 games. Kirk Gibson smacked home run number 10 and had 8 RBIs. In all, the Tiger trio of Gibson, Lou Whitaker, and Alan Trammell went 15 for 27 with 11 RBIs and 10 runs scored in the final 2 games. With the split of the series, last year's world champs stayed on the Blue Jays' tail and left little doubt that the race in the East will be furious to the finish. Next stop, Baltimore, where Boston brought down the Birds. Sneaking up on the rest of the East with 4 straight wins, the Red Sox kept matters well in hand at Baltimore. In Game 1, Dwight Evans broke out of a batting slump, going 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs, including the game winner, as the Sox rolled 8-4. Rich Gedman also rained on Baltimore's parade, chipping in with 4 of the Red Sox 14 hits to extend his hitting streak to 15 games. Next day, Oriole manager Joe Altobelli was equally distressed by Boston's Bruce Kison, who got the win, allowing only 1 run and striking out 8 over 7 2/3 innings. Also hitting just the right spot was reliever Bob Stanley, who struck out 4 over the last 1 1/3 for a combined 12 strikeouts against the Birds, as Boston squeezed by 2-1. In Game 3, the Red Sox posted some heavy numbers, cracking 17 hits to crush the O's 12-0, sparking rumors that Altobelli was about to be replaced by former Oriole manager Earl Weaver. Bill Buckner stayed in a groove with 2 hits, lifting his average to .316, while the team overall raised theirs to .278, tops in the league. Simply out of sight was the can man, Dennis Oil Can Boyd, who handed the Birds their first shutout this year. Boyd's 8th complete game raised his record to 7-4 and dropped his ERA below 2.50. As for the Sox, a 3-game sweep, and 8 straight wins overall. Now, let's review this week in baseball's TWIB notes from around the American League. Bob James was traded to the White Sox from Montreal over the winter, and so far this year, he's been a saving grace. Of the team's first 15 saves this season, James has had 14, surpassing not just his own career high for 1 year, but also the entire team's total in 1984. Divine defense is a big reason the Angels are contending in the West. California executed 86 double plays in its first 57 games, putting the Angels on a pace to break the season record of 217 double-ups set by the 1949 Philadelphia Athletics in a 154-game season. Ready, set, let's go for the answer to this week's Nissan quiz. Now with the Chicago Cubs, Larry Bowa holds the National League record for fewest errors by a shortstop in one season. In 150 games with the Phillies in 1972, only 9. Coincidentally, the Major League record was set that same season when Detroit Tigers shortstop Eddie Brinkman in 156 games made a mere 7. A manager's quiet contemplation can quickly turn to consternation. But keep your wits about you, Skip, because sometimes players can lose their grip. Mister, someone got you in a twister? Well, don't lose control just yet, even if you are in a fret. You gotta get the right feel and try to stay on an even keel. Hey, fans, now look what's in store for a batter who couldn't wish for more. One little bunt and a chance for first base. But 2 errant throws, and boy, is he making haste. All around the bases he goes. Where he'll stop, nobody knows. Still on the run, he gets home in time, a bunt round tripper. And folks, that ends our rhyme. Now, back to prose for some prosaic glove work that's almost poetic. A-plus efforts of field that go down as not quite great plays. Can't catch them all. Now to Omaha, where the Hurricanes tore up the College World Series. This year's World Series came down to a final game between Texas and Miami. Kevin Sherry already had 2 series wins, and against the Longhorns, he went 6 2/3 innings for number 3, as the Hurricanes took it 10-6. Designated hitter Greg Elena was named the series' outstanding player. He tied a series record with 22 total bases, going 12 for 25 with 4 hits in the final. The Longhorns came up short after Rick Rather came on to collect his third save of the series, sparking Miami to its second championship in 4 years.
Rather's done it all year, and he did it in this tournament. I think he challenged the big guys. You know, it was one of those clubs of destiny, I think. You know, there was no way we were going to lose this ball game tonight.
Long faces for the runner-up Longhorns as the Hurricanes took them by storm. Now it's time for an Old Spice salute, brought to you by 24-hour strong Old Spice deodorant and antiperspirant. This week, Old Spice salutes Von Hayes and the entire Philadelphia Philly wrecking crew. Hayes started the complete demolition of the New York Mets when he smashed a home run to lead off the game. 8 more Phillies came to bat in the first inning before Hayes stepped up with the bases loaded. Man alive, this time he bashed a grand slam. The only big leaguer in history to hit 2 home runs in the first inning. But there's more. The Phillies scored 9 times in the first and went on to thoroughly crush the Mets. The box score shows 27 hits and 26 runs. Most runs by a National League team in 41 years and most in Philly history. Congratulations, Von and all. And folks, for now, that's all. But see you next week on This Week in Baseball.